Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lyds and we're back for some more Thronebreaker, and last time we met Ivo and we fought a bunch of stuff here in this area, including Glusty Warp, which I was excited to see because I was kind of expecting, since we heard some rumors, some mentions of it, that it was going to pop up at some point, and so glad that we finally did encounter it. Somewhat difficult encounter in that we may or may not have had the entire board get destroyed on our side, and we still managed to recover, but it was a brief moment of panic there. We are on low morale after getting an encounter over here in which we basically traded low morale for a card fragment, which gave us a new trinket. Granted, it was a bad one. But as for what we have planned, now that we have seen a notice board here and learned a little bit more about the area, there doesn't seem to be that much left here. Now, granted, usually there are additional things that do not show up on our map until we get much closer to them. So I imagine that will still be the case here, but might not be that long until we are all the way through to the end of Ongren here. And I know that I'd said, I think on several occasions before, that I anticipated that Gurnakor was going to technically be an optional encounter. I am starting to feel as though that is definitely not going to be the case. I think she's definitely going to be unavoidable and probably the final boss of this area. Probably this encounter right here. Unless, I mean, maybe she is optional, and maybe we will happen across her earlier on. I don't know. Maybe just when I let my card down is when she will appear. But either way, we theoretically are getting fairly close, I would assume. He says, perhaps instance before encountering her? No, I don't know. I don't know. Cautiously progresses slightly further. And there is a little bit of loot around here, but no surprise and capture. Oh, what is that? Okay, did we know about that before? That looks like that's something over here, which I don't think we have an icon for unless it's actually that, but I'm pretty sure that is not the case. In fact, did we know about that before? Because I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to end up getting ourselves into more or less right now, by the looks of things.
Caldwell had summoned Nilfgaardian support.
Uh-oh.
Meve assumed they were not far behind. Yet in the unforgiving terrain, a full Nilfgaardian division could not hope to close the gap.
Right, surely they'd be moving quite slowly, right?
However, light cavalry or footmen could very well do just that. So when black-clad men emerged from the mist, the Queen was not surprised. She ordered her troops to fall in, form up, and brace to defend the line.
Okay.
Yet the attack never came. The invaders stood silent, motionless, and Meve got a closer look.
Have they been controlled by Gurnakor?
Ashen-faced, unsure of step, and covered in sores.
They're basically zombies.
Isgith had treated them as cruelly as any. Teetering in his saddle, the commander broke formation. He rode forth and addressed the Queen in fluent common tongue.
Oh. Okay. Not gonna lie, yes, gave the description of how, sure, a small detachment of Nilfgaardians may be able to relatively quickly break out from the group and try to push ahead to find us. But on the other hand, it's not as if it's been smooth sailing through the swamp area here. There's been lots and lots of either terrain, presumably the terrain would be very difficult, but also, trying to fight through various assortments of monsters. So, maybe we just conveniently removed all those monsters just before the Nilfgaardians arrived, and so they could waltz on through. But if not, then you would think it would be quite time-consuming to do that as well.
Half my men are wounded, the others sick. Your force does not fare much better.
True. Yet we outnumber you soundly.
Indeed.
Okay, where's this
When
going?
it comes to combat, you are certain to win. But in this damn swamp, all wounds fester. Flesh is quick to rot. You will lose many more apart from those who fall.
What do you mean precisely?
Asked the Queen, her eyes
Basically saying that it's worth
narrowing, her head
losing
tilted to the side.
just to weaken us?
Part ways in peace. There's a war
Or
on,
peace.
there'll be another chance to fight. Perhaps even face one another. But not here. And not like this.
Huh. Okay. So on one hand, you could potentially make the case that this is an opportunity to take out at least a small group of Nilfgaardians when we have a strategic advantage. However, there's that downside of, well, if we do that, we may still end up losing some of our troops because of sickness and infection and what have you, even if they are mortally wounded directly from the fight. Just the aftermath in the swamp is not, it's not a good place to be trying to treat any minor nicks. But if we let them walk, then yes, we're peaceful for now, but it does mean they're, a small group, it's 3, probably not exactly 3 based on this image here, but a small group of Nilfgaardians that will be rejoining the rest of their group, and we won't have taken them out.
Suddenly unsure, the Queen weighed the officer's words. Their logic was sound, though they could also prove a ruse.
Your Grace,
Xavier's voice came from behind Meve's back.
we can't let them pass. They've done only harm, and they'll not stop and go home.
Yeah, had to imagine that somebody was going to be making a case for us taking them out, right? Okay, so let them depart or attack the foe. So which one do I prefer? I mean, initially, when the option of peace was on the table, my first impression was, yeah, we should probably go that route. But I don't really know. I mean, how significant? In the grand scheme of things, Nilfgaard has thousands upon thousands of soldiers, right? How significant is removing a tiny little contingent of those soldiers right now? Doesn't seem like that would be a big deal in the grand scheme of things. So this just feels like this is such a small victory compared to the, this is win a tiny little battle in a humongous war. Whereas this is circumvent a battle and maybe make ourselves, on the whole, in better shape for the war. So I think it might still be best to let them depart. And what's it going to do? Lower our morale? It's already low morale right now, so I don't know. I think we do this.
So be it. I accept.
Meve answered
And
after
yes,
thinking a while.
We shall cross swords some other day, beneath a clear
I'm not surprised to
sky,
see this seems to
on
be
solid ground.
I will hold
a
you to
major
your word, Majesty.
decision.
Replied the Nilfgaardian, then raised his arm in salute. The retreating Imperials marched past the Lyrians. Along the slim path, their shoulders nearly touched. Meve soldiers glared from beneath their brows, their eyes locked on the foe till the last vanished in the woods. Then,
Why are they coming from the opposite direction?
they let out a sigh of relief.
Yeah, that's also the other weird thing is, I mean, they were sent out here to find and kill us, presumably, or at least scout out where we went and report back to the rest of their Nilfgaardian regiment. So why are they turning around? They haven't done their job? Are they just basically deserting? I mean, functionally, what they're describing in that case would be deserting, right? Or just not doing their duties, and then they would get killed by the Nilfgaardians, because that's what Nilfgaardians do when soldiers do not obey orders, right? So, that much is a little bit weird. That much does not really make any sense with the context of, what this group was supposed to do in the first place, and why were they coming from the other direction anyway? They should have been coming from behind us, and then just turning right around rather than coming past us. So that's weird. That doesn't technically make sense. And, just based on Witcher 3, can say pretty confidently that when people make Nilfgaardians mad, even if they are Nilfgaardians themselves, Nilfgaard usually does not exactly show much in the way of mercy. So these guys would probably not be long for this world. So that's a little bit weird on several levels. Okay, but here is this dude who is still not showing up with an icon here. I assume it's a battle? Yeah, okay, now it shows up. Battle rather than a puzzle. Looks like it was once upon a time a Nilfgaardian camp. I mean, I guess maybe there were Nilfgaardians in front of us that circled back? And that would explain why they were coming, or at least the description suggested that they were coming from this side and we're trying to go back that way, even though the people who were chasing us were coming from where we came, the castle area, or the fortification, and coming behind us, so it's weird and inconsistent, which Thronebreaker has generally been very good about being mindful of those details in the past. That's a little bit odd that that's not really the case here, but nonetheless, I think this could be difficult because we're on low morale. On the other hand, we've been doing pretty well, in particular with our Skellige guys, as of late, so I'm hoping this might be a good opportunity for us to, after finishing this battle, get a quote-unquote free way to restore ourselves to neutral morale. So let's see. Just how tough is this guy going to be? Abandoned campsite. Meve cursed when her scouts reported they'd encountered an Nilfgaardian camp. Just what we need, she thought. Though the campfire still burned and the horses nibbled on grass, the tents were completely empty. The Queen knew Ysgith well enough to recognize a bad omen. Okay, it's a standard battle, so full 3 rounds, which is probably a good thing for our Skellige guys, because that makes it easier to get them into our graveyard. I think the first battle we had in this second half of Ysgith was quite easy, and then the second one I thought I remembered being a little closer. That makes me a little more nervous, but let's see what we can learn here. Whenever a vampire is played, boosted by 2, Blood Drunk Catechin. Okay, so assuming it's going to be a lot of vampires, that would suggest that they're going to damage us and boost themselves. That's what tends to be the case with them, and that means infiltrators with Tainted Ale and Alchemists could certainly be a good combo. But generally speaking, we want to prioritize Skellige guys in round 1 because those are the ones that have the most carryover value. You know, the more we play in round 1, the more we're going to have in our graveyard in round 2/3. So definitely getting Dogger is good, but I want more Skellige guys. The thing is, it's probably going to have to come at the expense of infiltrators and infiltrator synergies. Xavier is good, as is Gabor, but only to a certain extent. Like, Dogger plus Skellige dudes are just so far and away our strongest cards now that I think we might still need to... Okay, good, more Skellige guys. I mean, we could use our leader ability to get other Skellige dudes out, I suppose, since we have Dogger in our hands, so we actually don't need to use it directly on him, which is not always the case. Cadaverin might also be a little bit tricky, since they may be pretty highly boosted. I mean, then again, with our Skellige guys, we can probably get enough damage on them to set them up for some destruction here. So maybe this is just barely. Let's swap one of you. Okay, good. So I think, although I would like to see more Skellige dudes, we can hopefully make some of that happen with our leader ability as well. We actually don't really want to play Dogger in round 1 unless Skellige guys get destroyed in round 1, because we need to make sure that you do not get destroyed. So let's begin with Skellige guys.
Come here, let's dance.
And let's use leader ability to swap one of you out to get more Skellige guys. Let's do probably you two, right? So we have some of these guys in hand, and we just played one on the board, so a little more variety. Also, we might have one more Disgraced Warrior that we can add to our deck that we didn't add previously because we were still a little bit on the fence initially as to what the best combination of these guys was going to be, because we hadn't yet figured out how effective they were going to be, but it has become very clear very quickly that they are amazing. So for that reason, we may actually, if I remember, want to make some changes to get one more of these guys in. Okay, so you guys spawn 2 copies of this unit. Every turn start, drain a random enemy by 1. Yeah. And there are 3 of them. These ones are small, this one's big, so we should be able to destroy you two with you, which I think is definitely a worthwhile exchange, whereas that one would potentially be something we would consider targeting with the Tainted Ale. I swear, I'm going to mix these up at some point. They look a little too similar. Although they are both multiplayer Gwent cards, they're not usually ones that I play in the same deck. So, that's not something I'm super used to. Okay, so every Skellige guy except for Dogger we are okay with playing in this round. So let's do that. That's obvious. But then, see, you're functionally at 12, or well, you're gonna hit for 10, which is enough to destroy any of these guys if we use their abilities now, which is not a terrible thing, but we might want to keep our options open here, so let's leave those orders unused for the time being. If you want to destroy that, that's fine, since it's already used its ability. But now it would be useful to, yeah, get you down, and then you'll get boosted by 1 each, up to 3. Should mean we're still able to destroy you on our next turn once this order ability becomes available. Then Patricide with 1, 2, 3, 4 cards on the board. So we could hit you, drop you down to an 8, at which point you survive with 2. Hit it back, it drops to 6, and then this one gets hit for 6, which means you survive on 4. Hit you back, you drop to, what, 2 if my math is right? So, it's not terrible, but it is close, but not quite there for destroying those guys, so that's, Might even consider using an Alistair's Thunder on our next turn. So, let's do this. We actually may not want to play that much longer this round, because we're going to run out of Skellige guys pretty soon. Of course, the longer we wait, the more these guys get boosted. You drain lowest enemy units by 1. Alright, but it is predictable who gets hit in this case. It's not random. This guy almost has dropped to our lowest number, which would be kind of nice, because again, destroying the Skellige guys is not bad, whereas you are actually a card that potentially does have some value. So now, yeah, now it does get kind of tricky, because we're out of Skellige dudes again, or outside of Dogger. We don't want to play Dogger, because we don't have anything in our graveyard for him to bring back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit you, drop you down to a 4, and then we should theoretically be able to much more efficiently take you out. What's 4? Forget though. This is the oddest one. Well, actually, we should do this first though, because this gives us better damage. Do we have intentions of going after you? Alistair's Thunder is 10. Hit adjacent units for 5. Technically, okay, I think this is what we do. That's not what I meant to do. That was supposed to be clicking on Patricide. This is going to go on their side of the board and give them points. This was actually going to be one of our best cards for combining with this in a later round. So that really stinks, because that was just purely a, technically not even a misclick. That was a out of the corner of my eye click on the card that was in the general area that I was looking for. That's what I was trying to do. Then, it's this, I think. Yeah. It's this. Then it's this. Then it can be these guys who collectively should be able to take you out. So, if we don't put anything here, technically this will just be a 3-point card going in their side. Yes, we are handing them 3 points, which stinks, but again, so be it. Can't do anything about it now. So, you hit us for 4, we'll be on 6, so you're dead. And that might be the last turn we wanted to play, to be honest. That's pretty huge. Boost up by 1 whenever an enemy takes damage? What? No, but our whole deck is designed around taking damage. With the Skellige guys, at least, it is. So that's not good. This would be a great card for us to target with Tainted Ale plus Stray's Infiltrator. Problem is we can't really do that anymore, because at this point, it takes 3 turns for this to happen, takes 2 turns for this to happen. They could easily pass in the meantime, and we would not catch them. This guy is going to go to their side of the board at the start of our next turn. We're up by 1 point, which is not a lot. It's not a lot. 16 base, yeah, so it's not like we're about to get you into Cadaver range either. Yeah, this is not ideal. This is not ideal. Savior is really the only card that we feel kind of okay about playing here. Emphasis on the kind of part. because usually we use him with Patricide, and that's not terribly effective at the moment. Can we do it on Disgraced Warrior? I think we might actually be able to do that, and that might actually be preferable, because then we would destroy the Skellige guy. And that would make 1, 2, 3, 4 times 2 points. That'd be worth 8. Sacrifice 5 to gain 8, so net 3 benefit there. Which isn't amazing, but it's slightly better than this. Ugh. Yeah, this is gross. This is gross. I think what we have to do here is we have to pass. And allow them to beat us by playing... Oh. Except they passively do that without even needing to play a card. I was about to say, force them to play one more card in that round to beat us. So then we at least have card advantage, slash, if they try pass in round 2, we can just use the throwaway. But yeah, little flukes are now starting to add up. Okay, so I do like to see this guy. We did not have that guy in the previous round, did we? Because usually the 3 cards you draw into are the 3 rightmost cards, but definitely didn't see this guy. Okay, so and now we have Isbel. So we played the same amount of cards, and we lost round 1. We quote-unquote lost on even. That's really bad news, usually, but Dogger may be able to save us now, as he has saved us many times before. Xavier, we may benefit from being a little more ambitious, seeing if we can find other stuff besides... Gabor's really the best card that we have left in our deck, so it's not like that's a huge difference maker. Alright. Plumbered. So... takes us 1 turn before we can use leader ability again. I think that means we have to do this, which you're going to get hit by all these guys. So you're going to be pretty weak, but I think you will still be able to hit those guys and destroy them. Or at least these 2 on our next turn, which is going to be pretty important. And then if they keep on playing, we could use Dogger and then use leader ability to put Dogger back into our deck. But we can't do him now.
My disgrace ends here. Time I wiped it away.
Okay, so as long as they don't have additional damage coming from this, which they will eventually, but now we can use Dogger, because we can immediately put him back into our deck with our leader ability, which we may need to do. If we were to do that, I guess we'd get out a Bomber and an Alchemist? I don't know. So... but do we need to do that? Yeah, hold on. We'll do that. And then, is there anything else that can pass them in 1 turn? Probably not. Yeah, unfortunately this Alchemist Infiltrator setup has been, it's gonna be much weaker now.
Ludifisk, give me some of that.
At least much weaker than it could have been.
Don't need no weapon.
Waiting for a personal invitation.
Tomorrow I'll drink with our forefathers.
Okay, so we could potentially Alchemist right here to set you up much higher. Yeah, that's probably what's going to end up happening, because I think we do need to put Dogger back on this. Like, yeah, we can't finish the round with Dogger on the board, so we have to do this. Normally, there would be a more optimal way to do this. We'd like to get these guys back into our graveyard once again by sacrificing Disgraced Warriors and then using our leader ability to replay Dogger to get these guys back out again. Hoping that's not going to be necessary. So I'm expecting that they may pass soon here. So that's the big thing that I'm preparing for. Gabor... 15 damage nowadays, right? Which means it's almost enough to destroy you. It is enough to destroy you. Maybe we'll go after you then. Let's do that, and then I mean, this is presumably going to be a relatively short round. So I think Bomber's not great. Maybe we go Alchemist as well. Then again, we probably don't really want to use Bomber in the same round we're going to use an Infiltrator, so maybe we will use Bomber nonetheless. So let's do this.
Oh, could murder a pint.
Damage, destroy. A little bit of extra damage on you. Not that that's going to be all that significant. And then while we're at it,
could hurt.
do that. Okay, so now we have a pretty big advantage here. Is that just the passive stuff from that, or are they actually going to keep on playing? They're actually going to keep on playing. Okay, so we do want to split our units across different rows if possible, for the most part, given how they can hit everything in a row there. But they are already making this round go a little longer than I would have expected. So, at this point, is anything low enough base power that it's, or at least has received few enough boosts that we could potentially get a Cadaveran kill out of it, because I think this is going to be kind of tricky to make that work. So I kind of want to use that now. Technically, we would have to use the third charge on ourselves, which actually is not a terrible thing if it's on a Skellige guy. I am realizing, technically you could deliberately use this primarily as a way to destroy your Skellige guys. So I guess that's an option. Otherwise, we could just roll the dice a bit with Barnabas. Let's do... What were our other sources of damage? Oh, we just needed to get you down to 13, right. So we should do this first. Not damaged yet, but now we do this. Now you are. And that way, yeah, because this is every turn. So I think we just do this. And then we'll just destroy you. Not a huge deal. We lose a 1-power Skellige guy, and again, we kind of want them to get destroyed anyway, because it makes everyone else stronger. Technically, we should have done that first, but it's a 1-point difference. Hopefully that isn't going to matter. Hey, you would think they would pass now, but in multiplayer Gwent, I would say that this person is being very greedy. Obviously, this is an AI, so I don't really know if we can make that same assessment here. Now this Tainted Ale could completely brick if they play long enough that we're forced to use it in this round, because if it doesn't have enough time to go out the full 3 turns, then we're just boosting our opponent and we're never actually destroying their card. So that's not good. We need to be careful of that. But at this point, it also means that the longer this round goes, the shorter round 3 is going to be. So getting a Dogger back out and using our leader ability to just, or well, Dogger and using that to get all the Skellige guys down in a short round means that's pretty hard for our opponent to match that kind of pace. So it might kind of need to be that we start using things like Tainted Ale now and accept the fact that we're taking a bit of a risk here, but we have enough of a margin that maybe we're not too worried if they pass early and don't give us enough time to benefit from it in this round, so we just won't need it. So we'll do that, and then next turn we'll go Infiltrator. They don't pass. They steal. I don't like that. I don't like that because we want all the Skellige guys we can get. That's not good news. Alright, but we put you... Unit on the right, so put you there. Okay. They are in the lead at the moment, for what it's worth. Let's see. And I guess we... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we could destroy you before they potentially steal more Skellige guys, that would be good, because there is otherwise actually a chance that this could boost their own Skellige guys. Only relevant if they get multiple, but... Otherwise, you're the only one that's a long-term engine, which is why we put the Tainted Ale on you. Okay, actually, that's why I was saying. They actually used the order ability on it. Wow. Wow. That's bold. That's so disrespectful. Okay, they took a large lead from doing that. Okay, in some ways, you could make the case this deck is kinda sorta designed to counter our deck, which I think is probably not entirely a coincidence. But, I mean, this is also looking a little worse than it actually is at the moment because we've not yet gotten the full benefit from the Infiltrator coming back to our side and this Catacomb getting destroyed. So, let's, his spell is also eventually going to be very effective. Waiting on the Alchemist until you come back. Xavier would be to give extra charges to Patricide, which at this point, there are enough cards on their side of the board that that's not a terrible thing to do. We no longer really want to target these guys, because as I feared, they stole multiple of them, so destroying one would strengthen the others. So we are not quick enough with that damage. In fact, the fire might do that for us, which kind of stinks. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I mean, we can hit you. Does technically mean that future Patricide abilities are going to be slightly weaker, but everyone else either has armor or is someone that we don't want to destroy anyway. So that's probably what we're gonna do. So let's do, or tell you what, we'll go Xavier.
Fear not. We shall achieve our goal.
Technically, the longer we wait, the more effective this becomes, but given how getting a little concerned about the numbers we are seeing here. We'll get a bit aggressive on this turn. Okay, now I'll remove that. Sure. So, you should come back, and I think you will get destroyed quite soon, which should mean, I mean, we had enough time to benefit from all that stuff. There we go. There's this dude coming back to our side. They pass. Okay, so just in time for us to benefit from that stuff. You do get strengthened, but you get destroyed, and we will win round 2 of 3 cards apiece. So we're on even cards in round 3. We'll have Isbel. Actually, surprised that number isn't higher. But she'll be a good source of a lot of tempo in a short round. Basically, what I mean by that is there's not a lot of time to set up. So we need things that can put up a lot of points really quickly. So that's where getting Dogger, which I would have thought would be a very high probability of happening because we have 2 cards remaining in our deck right now. So let's put you back and get Dogger. Now, the Alchemists are not super valuable, but I think this is, pretty much what we're going to get in this round. The bigger concern, honestly, or at least what might actually be the thing holding us back here, is they stole 2 of our Skellige dudes, and that means we're losing 24, technically, more like 26 points in this round. And that could be a difference maker. Alright, but as I said, I think this is about as good as it gets. So let's use Dogger. We'll get back the Skellige guys that we do still have in our graveyard, and then we'll save our leader ability. We'll save our leader ability so that if they do destroy some of our Skellige guys, or we could deliberately destroy some of them, like this Disgraced Warrior at least.
Come on, kill me!
And then we use Dogger use our leader ability on Dogger to replay him and get this guy back out. And that way we can basically just farm him to give ourselves more base power increases on our other Skellige guys. So deliberately not using leader ability right now for that reason. There's a unit on the opposite row. Destroy the one with the highest power and self. Honestly, that is the opposite of a counter. We love this card. There's a unit on the opposite. Destroy the one with the highest power. So destroy this, and then destroy self. So you get destroyed. You have more power than our unit does. And we wanted to destroy this anyway. So that, I mean, in some ways, it would have been nice if it was going to destroy something other than this guy, because this was going to be the easiest guy for us to destroy anyway, and that was something we were planning to do. But also means Patricide hitting here doesn't really make a difference, but so be it. I think we go Bomber. Technically, we don't really know what row is going to be most relevant, because you're going to get destroyed anyway, but I guess we'll take our chances and put you here, since Patricide is the biggest, and you may end up being the target for the Alchemists. Alright, so waiting for that to get destroyed. Power up everybody else, and then we can use leader ability. Okay, love that you... Yeah, I guess that was the only damaged one. Yeah, being on low morale going into this encounter, I suppose, made this much easier for them to steal stuff with Garcane. But yeah, great that you got stolen and not these guys. These guys are obviously way more important. But now... Now we don't have great setup for Alchemist unless we go to Barnabas first, which I guess we would have to do. So... Sure. Put you here.
Not supposed to be any smoke.
I don't know about that. After 3 turns on turn start. Do we have enough time to benefit from that? Marjoram Bear. On Barnabas himself actually does work. I think that might be the best option for us. It almost certainly is. Alright, it's Barnabas is just, you know, it's just trying out some new fashion options, I guess. Let's see. Shouldn't really matter who we're hitting here, I suppose. And we could use leader ability on Dogger now to get at least one Skellige guy back. Yeah. Or we wait and see if more gets destroyed, and then we get better value out of Dogger. Not really sure that's going to happen, but maybe since we're not going to get more than one leader ability charge in this short round anyway, we can be a little bit pickier about when that's going to happen, when we want that to happen at least. Drain lowest enemy units by 1, that will be these guys. Not that that's going to happen quickly enough for you to actually destroy them, although we'd kind of like for you to do that. Now we really don't have much of anything to do with the alchemists, unfortunately. In fact, everything is set up suboptimally right now. So, unless... I guess we could lower you, couldn't we? I guess that's actually preferable. That's something. And then we put you next to Barnabas and what was formerly Barnabas.
There's been a mistake.
And we could use the alchemist on you. Although we should use Isabel on her next turn anyway, because otherwise we're not going to have time for her to do her thing. And, oh, technically we should have done that first, I suppose. And that would have been reason to hit this guy with Patricide on a previous turn as well. Okay, so this would be a reason to wait for a leader ability. That's fine. That's fine. So now, this is minus, or we could hit you first, and then that's what, 4 here, so we would drop you down to 5, which means that's a minus 11, whereas that, no, it's still more valuable to do this. Okay, fair enough. Oh, except, no, don't do that. This first, this first, this first.
So much anger and suffering.
That first.
For what?
Okay, so we should hit you, though. In fact, we might as well hit these guys as well, because these guys, or at least you, are going to get destroyed at the end of our turn anyway. So this is basically just free damage. You're still the highest unit? Yes, that's fine. Okay. You get destroyed, you get destroyed. Still a good trade for us. Boosts up these guys. Dogger's now more valuable. We will replay Dogger on our last turn. Did you just drain the row which had 1 unit in it? Because if so, then you are a fool. Okay, so now we do... technically, Patricide will eventually become bigger than the bear will, but guess we can't use this on the alchemist directly anyway, so it's going to be on Isabel.
You've not seen me.
Then Isabel technically can already destroy everyone, so Patricide's damage doesn't really matter. But we go leader ability to put you back, and then get you back out, along with the other dude, who doesn't really matter.
God is free!
So this is just to get all the other Skellige guys back out. Which, granted, is all of them, meaning 2 of them. But hey, it's something. Again, this doesn't technically matter, but everyone is gone. And now we will see if they can put up 133 points in 1 turn. Fortunately for us, the answer appears to be no. Okay, so definitely still far from perfect, and as I was saying, it feels like in many ways that deck was kind of designed to counter our deck, or at least counter a deck after having a situation before where it was very likely we were going to be on low morale, so that was a bit more of a trap than we anticipated. But is there anything else of note here? Because what is this letter? From Colonel Ferris Loquir? Have we heard this name before? To Corporal Dwylin Fioner. Queen Meve has wormed her way through the trap. Wait. And is now headed for Red Lobenden. Okay. And by trap, you mean the one with Caldwell? You must cut off her escape route at all costs. Should you fail, every 3rd soldier in your unit shall be lashed and sentenced to a month of solitary confinement. That's a lot of solitary confinement, and lash is probably not all that pleasant either. So this might be where the group that we ran into earlier was originating from. So as I say before, that was kind of odd how they're coming from what seemed to be the wrong direction. But okay, some rewards from the loot, and some additional context as well. And it is a way to get ourselves back to neutral morale, so that's also a good thing as well. And that is just one encounter along here that we did not originally have on our map, which I think, again, is just further evidence of what I think is going to be the case going forward, that although it looks like there's only 2 more things before our perhaps final encounter in Alvangren, there's probably going to be at least 1 or 2 other things here that we don't yet know about. Again, I think I mentioned before, but I imagine somewhere along this narrow strip here, we're going to find something pop up. But I think this is a good place for us to wrap up here, so thank you all for watching, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.